My company refused to pay overtime, so I made them lose millions. They thought they could steal from me. They thought I was just another replaceable worker, just another name on a spreadsheet. They were wrong. I spent 5 years at that company, working my way up from a junior analyst to a senior specialist. I sacrificed my weekends, my nights, even my sanity for them. And how did they repay me? By screwing me over when I needed them the most. It all started with a project. Not just any project. A multi-million-dollar government contract that was supposed to take our company to the next level. It was big, high-profile, and carried strict federal regulations. The higher-ups were practically salivating over the potential bonuses. But there was a catch, an impossible deadline. The client wanted everything delivered in 6 months, a job that realistically needed a year. But my boss, a smug, arrogant man named Greg, assured them we could pull it off. He didn't consult the team. He didn't ask if it was possible. He just said yes. And just like that, my team's lives turned into a waking nightmare. We worked 16-hour days, weekends, even holidays. Greg kept promising we'd be taken care of. He sent out encouraging emails. We know you're putting in extra hours, and we appreciate you. Just hold on until the end of the project. I was exhausted, but I kept pushing. We all did. Because in the back of my mind, I thought at least we'll be paid for this. I was wrong. When payday arrived, I eagerly checked my account. But something was off. The numbers didn't add up. I checked again. Then I pulled up my timesheet. I was missing over 40 hours of overtime pay. At first, I thought it was a mistake. HR was swamped, and payroll errors happen sometimes. No big deal, right? So I sent a polite email to payroll. No response. A few days later, I followed up. Still nothing. Then I went to HR in person. The woman at the desk gave me a nervous smile. We're looking into it, she said. You should hear back soon. I waited. A week passed. Then 2. Nothing. That's when I knew something shady was going on. I stormed into Greg's office. My paycheck is short. Where's my overtime? He barely looked up from his screen. You're salaried. We don't do overtime for salaried employees. I stared at him. What? That's not what you told us. You said we'd be compensated. He shrugged. Company policy. But we worked. Look, he said, leaning back with that same smug expression. You should be grateful. This project is going to put your name on the map. Sacrifices have to be made. I clenched my fists. So you lied. Call it a necessary omission. He smirked. If you have a problem with it, you can take it up with legal. That was the moment I decided, if they won't pay me what I'm owed, I'll make them pay in a way they'll never forget. I started by collecting evidence. Every email, every work log, every encouraging message Greg sent promising us compensation. But then, something else caught my attention. I had access to internal reports. While gathering my own records, I stumbled onto something odd. The company had reported one set of numbers to the government but an entirely different set to investors. At first, I thought it was a mistake. But as I dug deeper, I realized they were cooking the books. They had inflated project costs, falsified security clearances, and double-billed expenses. They even classified unqualified employees as experts to meet federal contract requirements. And the worst part? They had lied about cybersecurity compliance. This wasn't just fraud, this was a federal crime. I had everything I needed. It was time to make my move. Step 1. I filed a complaint with the Department of Labor. I laid out everything. The unpaid overtime, the false promises, the way they exploited their employees. It was anonymously reported, but I made sure it was detailed enough to trigger an audit. Step 2. I sent a package to the government agency that awarded the contract. Inside were emails, reports, and undeniable proof that my company had violated federal regulations. Step 3. I tipped off the SEC. Because fraud on a federal contract? That's not just an HR problem. That's a financial crime. Then, I sat back and waited. The first sign that the storm had hit came in the form of a company-wide email. Urgent, mandatory meeting at 10 a.m. I walked into the conference room, and Greg looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight. He was pale, sweating, and fidgeting with his tie. The CO stood beside him, stone-faced. We've been informed of an ongoing investigation, the CEO announced. Due to a misunderstanding with labor laws, an audit is being conducted. A misunderstanding? By the end of the week, HR was scrambling. The Department of Labor had slapped them with fines for wage theft. Employees were finally getting their missing pay, but it was too late to save the company. Because the real bombshell came when the SEC stepped in. The fraudulent financial reports? That was securities fraud. The cybersecurity lies? That was a federal breach of contract. The government revoked the contract. Millions of dollars gone overnight. Investors pulled out. Stock plummeted. Lawsuits piled up. And Greg? He was fired in disgrace. The CEO stepped down. The company's reputation was shattered. And within a year, the company that thought they could cheat me out of my pay was forced into bankruptcy. I left before the ship sank. Found a new job, one that actually values its employees. Sometimes, people ask me if I feel bad about what I did. If I regret it. I don't. They stole from me. So I made sure they paid the price.